The name of the show is The Way to Go. My name is Alan Bendich. I'm going to be your host. We have a special guest this evening. We have Lindsay-Elizabeth Hand. She's an actress, she's a producer, and she's a writer. Welcome, Lindsay.
I'm here.
Yay! I'm so happy you are here.
Yep.
So Lindsay, you're not from New York, are you?
I'm not from New York. I'm
Really?
actually from Georgia. I'm from Valdosta.
Wow, you definitely don't have an accent.
Well, I've been working on it. Let me have a couple of beers and you'll hear it then. But I'm from Georgia, but my mom's a New Yorker, so I was raised in the South, but I wasn't allowed to say y'all and things like that. Mom would get really upset. And so, yeah, I graduated college down there and I moved to New York City 4 years ago. It was just my 4-year anniversary last week.
So do you have any family at all in New York? Or
yes, I do have, my aunt lives out in Long Island, my uncle lives in Connecticut. My grandparents used to live in Connecticut until they got tired of shoveling snow and they moved down to Georgia.
Wow.
So yeah.
So when you were in college, did you study acting?
I did. My whole life I've wanted to be an actor. Like my parents said, even when I was 3 years old, I would make them act out different parts of Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe with them. So it wasn't really a hard choice to go to college for acting. So I have a BFA in performance and I went to Columbus State University. And it was a great experience. It was a larger program. Most theater departments are only like 40 or 80 people. This department, by the time I graduated, was about 180 majors. So I'm a competitive person. So it was nice to sort of get that, big pond, small fish thing going on before I moved to New York City. I think it taught me a lot about auditioning and competing against your friends and trying to get those parts.
Were your parents supportive in your decision?
Yes, my parents are awesome. I'm not gonna cry, but I love my mom and dad so much, and I have so many friends who their parents straight up said to them, like, if you move to New York City, I'm not gonna support you, but if you live here, I'll buy you a house. And it's hard when you're trying to do something that your family doesn't support. But my parents have always been like, go, do it, leave Georgia, get out of here, just follow your dreams. And it helps because, they're acting's tough, acting's tough, and sometimes you gotta call your mom and be like, Mom, I didn't get that part I thought I was gonna get. And she's like, well, you're still so good, just keep going. Like you need that extra pep.
And that happens to every actor, and it's the worst.
Yeah.
How terrible does it feel when you're counting on that part and it just doesn't happen?
Since I have my production company, Edge in Motion, I've been on the other side of the table casting for things I'm producing, and it takes the pressure off once you sit on the other side and you sort of watch. You want everyone to be the one you want to cast. You want people to be good. And as soon as you start thinking that and putting that into your acting, like, okay, they want me to be the one. They want me to be the one that, they don't have to see anyone else after me. Right. And so I sort of took that from my producing and put it into my acting, and it's been very positive.
Well, you seem to be very courageous, and you nothing's going to stop you, right?
I don't think anything's going to stop me. And plus, I love it. I'm trying to make opportunities happen for myself, but even if opportunities don't happen until I'm like 80 years old and I'm an old lady and I'm Betty White or everyone's favorite old lady, that's fine too.
But I think that's that's a nice thought. But opportunities have happened for you. You've done stage, you've done screen, right? Yeah. You've done web series. Could you talk about some of your stage work?
Yeah, sure. I'm in a show right now at Cherry Lane Theater, which is in West Village. It's called Why Won't You Pick Up Our Garbage Anymore? And it's a very, very strange audience interactive comedy. They say like a psychedelic comedy happening. And we're basically doing a play and it gets hijacked by some hippies that come in from the street. And it's a really interesting balance of the audience doesn't know what's going on. They don't know if things are supposed to be happening like this, and it's a really, really interesting thing to play with. And it's lots of like improv, and we give the audience juice to drink that we pretend to drug. And so it's a really interesting show. So
where do I sign up? No,
exactly. Well, we do it almost every month at Cherry Lane. Right. It's called Why Won't You Pick Up Our Garbage?
And how much does it cost? I'm curious.
Those tickets are, I think they're only like $15. And also you get a free pretend drug juice in the middle of the show. But I'm also, so that's a comedy that I'm in right now. I'm also in a very dramatic play right now. It's called Eclipsed. And and it's about the Magdalen laundries in Ireland.
Oh my God.
And we did the show at the Tank Theater over in Times Square a couple of months ago, and we actually got a lot of attention from it. Because in Ireland right now, there's a lot of stuff still going on with the Magdalen laundries, and the women from these laundries, basically want the Irish government to admit that they happened.
And could you give a little bit background information
sure.
on it for our audience?
A little history lesson. Magdalen laundries, they started basically in the 1800s, early 1900s. They were run by the Catholic Church, funded by the Irish government. It was basically a place for women who had children out of wedlock to go and work. Eventually, with time, it turned into something that was more corrupt, where basically your parents, if they thought you were promiscuous or you had a baby or anything, they could just sign you away to go in the laundry for the rest of your life. And you were never allowed to leave until someone signed you out. And they would take your baby and give it to an orphanage. And you think that this happened a long time ago. Last one closed was in 1996.
It's crazy.
And this all sort of blew up when a church in Ireland sold a piece of the land. And when they started to try to build on it, they found a mass grave of over 200 bodies in the grave, and they were never reported to the government that these women died or anything like that. So
and where was this being?
All over Ireland. They even had,
where are you showing? Where's the play being
we were
shown?
We were doing it at the Tank Theater in Times Square. We actually are about to start doing it in Washington D.C. next month.
That's cool.
Because we got invited to perform there and do the play. So it's really, really interesting. There's a film called The Magdalen Sisters. I think it came out in the early, I think it was 2005 it came out. It's called The Magdalen Sisters, and the whole film is on YouTube, broken up into 6 parts. So if people were more interested, they could watch that on YouTube. And it's a really kind of painful movie to watch.
And what do you play in the?
In this play, I play a woman who was checked into the laundry by her employer. So not even her parents, but basically her employer had a baby with her, and to hide her from his family, checked her into a laundry for the rest of her life. So that's my character, and pretty much all the characters in the show are based off of real women, because the playwright was a nun who worked in a laundry in real life. So she pulled things that she experienced, both good and bad, and made
I'll
this
give
play.
you an aside though. My parents owned a laundry and dry cleaning company for 40 years.
Not everyone does this.
So they actually did it voluntarily, but
yeah.
it was.
People probably got paid there, right?
Yeah,
People probably got paid for their work.
But it was still it's a tough trade. It's a tough trade.
Yeah, it's a really interesting show, and sometimes as an actor you get those roles. We were talking about this earlier, that sometimes you get those roles that when you read the script, you're like, how am I going to do this? How am I going to be able to show these things? And then you just work on them, and you have to just put your whole heart into them.
And then it's like, how could you not? I mean, it's those juicy roles that really, they really are the best ones and the most meaningful ones.
Yeah.
So those are you're actually in 2 plays. Well, I didn't realize that.
I'm a busy lady. No one ever believes me, but I really am.
And you've also, have you been doing any features or any films?
I'm working lately with this director, Shannon Lehner, and he has cast me in a couple of feature films for this upcoming year, so I'm finally SAG eligible because of them.
Cool.
So I'm in a Vietnam War film for him. I'm in a psychological thriller called November Lies that just got picked up for distribution. So I'm in some feature films. I'm in some other people's projects besides my own. And I'm in a pilot right now called Empire City that, I don't want to...
Tell me about the... Oh, I'm sorry.
I don't want to jump the gun, but okay. A couple of different networks are looking at it already.
Yeah. I saw it on your Facebook page.
Yes.
And I was saying, wow, that really looks interesting.
Yeah, I'm excited about that. And they've let me kind of recommend 2 of my friends.
That's great.
Brandy and Gina. So I'm excited to also have friends in it too. But I think that right now 3 different networks are looking at it and want to see the pilot when we're done.
Have you, you get an opportunity to work with your friends.
Yeah.
Do you ever have problems, not problems, but when you hope that you could work with a friend but it doesn't work out or things like that?
Yeah, there are times where, I don't tell my friends because I don't want to get their hopes up, but I'll recommend my friends all the time for things.
Right.
And sometimes, they just don't fit the part, or, they're too tall or too short, or, too this or too that. And
you never know what they're looking for.
You never know what they're looking for. And I think that's one reason why auditions and getting parts and stuff like that, it doesn't ever bring me down, because I know there are so many factors that we have no control over as an actor. I'm a tall girl, and sometimes they already cast the lead male, and I'm going to look like a giant
Well, you're
next to him.
so positive that I don't think anything can let you down. I mean, makes you, yeah, I mean, that's amazing. And it's good to see that in an actor, because a lot of times you're dealing with a lot of moody people, like myself sometimes. But it's, you know, like each, you know, if you start really being concerned about every part you don't get.
Right. It'll drive you nuts.
It'll turn your hair gray.
Yeah.
There it is.
Well, I'm going to keep dyeing mine for Lord knows how long. But no, definitely. All you can do is stay positive. And I think that in this industry, people are attracted to positive people.
Absolutely.
And when I audition for things, you know, of course, I also worry about being a good actor in the room, but also I just want to take that 5 minutes or 3 minutes and just show them the kind of person I am.
Right.
And I think it usually works, because I usually book
No,
things.
you've definitely gotten a lot of work, which is great, you know, and it's wonderful. I do think that confidence and positivity and all that stuff is like, you know, who said
part.
it's 80%, you know, whatever, 90%, you know, I mean, that's if you are the type of person that people want to be with on a set, just like in any, I think in any occupation,
Totally.
You have a much better chance at being successful in it.
And it's what you said, the confidence thing. It's, you know, not everyone has confidence, but sometimes there are moments where you are confident, and then there are other moments where you look around and everyone is so good, and you're like, am I good too?
That's it, and you got to stop having those thoughts, because that's the thing that kills
It'll
you.
eat you away.
And also, once you start questioning yourself, it affects your performance, or at least it affects your audition, and things like that.
There are moments where I still get nervous for things, not nearly as nervous as when I first moved up here from Georgia, and I would come to auditions not knowing what to expect. But, you know, I got cast in a pilot for NBC. You know, we did some of the promo stuff for it, but it didn't get picked up. But just to get cast in that pilot, we had 6 rounds of auditions.
How cool is that when they said, you're in the pilot?
I know. Well, I felt bad.
How cool is that?
They took one of the boys' parts and turned it into a girl's part and gave it to me. So I felt bad, because I had bonded with all these guys during the audition.
Hey,
Little did they know I was going to take their part.
That's showbiz, you know, and you have to be happy for yourself, and there'll be other parts for those people to audition for.
Yeah,
you know?
totally.
I mean, because you're not going to get every part, but you know, you're going to get the parts that you get.
Exactly.
And you
That's
just have to cherish those things.
Exactly. That's a good example of a time where I was nervous for that. I mean, I got to audition at 30 Rock. They got to make me a pass with my photo on it so I could go upstairs to the studios and audition. It was exciting, but it was so nerve-wracking. And that's a moment where I wasn't sure, but I pretended I was sure. Right. And I knew in my heart that if I pretended I was sure, that eventually at some point in the audition I would become sure.
Well, you know, actually, you have a clip that you'd like to show the audience,
sure.
don't you? So let's take a look at some of Lindsay's wonderful acting. Okay? Let's take it.
Can you turn that off? This is my 39th play I've ever worked on.
Becca,
What?
I want you to look in the mirror.
Oh, there's flames.
Never mind the flames.
Ready? Okay. Happy birthday! Yeah, happy birthday! Yeah, it's your birthday! Yeah, what's your name? How old are you?
No.
Let's break it down now. Hi, I'm the Leather Lady, and this is the House of Leather. It's like I always say, it's not the Netherlands, it's the Leatherlands.
I'm the only sour cherry on the fruit stand, right? I'm the only sour cherry on the fruit stand.
Can you tell me your name? What about the year?
Yeah, sure. I have to, yeah.
Told you she was good. No, she's excellent. No, it was
You're
fantastic.
too I paid him $20 to say that.
No, it was great. And
Thank you.
Right. I wish I had an opportunity to, maybe someday down the line we'll be able to work together.
Yes.
But it's you know, it's really good to be with people who have talent who are so positive too.
Sweet.
Even though sometimes the characters we play sometimes aren't that positive.
Yeah, exactly.
It's interesting. I love playing off my natural self,
Yeah,
you know, the
me
type
too.
of characters. And,
Yeah.
It's interesting.
I would love to play Abigail in The Crucible
Oh
before
my
I'm
God.
too old to do it. I mean, I'm 25 now. But I'm using my anti-aging cream. Maybe another few years I can play that part.
Yeah.
But I love roles that are complicated, sometimes dark people.
I love that stuff, but I
Yeah.
also like comedic roles at
Yeah.
times too, because
Yeah.
it's fun. So you have a production company?
I do. I started it back in 2011. It's called Edge in Motion. Find us on Facebook. And we produce 2 different shows, and I am producing a film right now.
Well, Edge of Motion, you said?
Edge in Motion.
Oh, in motion.
So like edge,
in,
like the edge of a table in motion.
in motion. And it's on Facebook, you said?
Yep, it's on
Okay.
Facebook. We have a website, edgeandmotiontheater.com. Theater spelled R-E.
Okay.
And
Fancy.
Fancy. And yeah, we produce a couple of shows, and I'm producing a film right now called Slip, and I'm very excited about it. And it's a sci-fi short period piece.
Right.
And it's really, really
Are you
interesting.
acting in it as well?
I'm also acting in it. I'm the lead in it as well. So that is pretty interesting. We start shooting that in 2 weeks. And
So
I'm very
do you have
excited.
like directors that work for your production company? Is it like house directors, or how does it work?
Not really. I think that every single project we've had so far, like we've had a different director each time. And right now, the guy we have his name's Sam Day. He actually won a Student Academy Award for a film that he made.
Wow.
So we're excited to have him on board for this film. And then the other thing I'm working on right now, so that's kind of like the serious thing. And the other thing, I'm working with one of my best friends, Alex Estrada. He's an amazing writer, actor. He did like all the advanced classes at Upright Citizens, like UCB and stuff. And so he and I are writing a web series together right now. And we've written 10 episodes so far. It's called Awful Terrible Lizards.
What? That sounds interesting.
And so it's a comedy, it's a sketch comedy show,
Right.
and it's around 4 main characters who are all dinosaurs living in New York City.
Oh, cool.
And so some people are like, dinosaurs, how does that make sense? So basically, we are not people pretending to be dinosaurs. We are dinosaurs that live among humans living in New York City. And I'm going to work with a really amazing director, props master, Jason Schuler, on making giant dinosaur heads
Right.
out of foam and silicone and painting them. And basically, you'll see the actor's face through the mouth.
Right.
So it's not like, completely obscuring our faces. So you'll still see our faces. And we have, my character is kind of like the spastic weirdo. And
I could see that.
you could see that, couldn't you? Alex's character, the writer, he plays the Tyrannosaurus Rex, and he's sort of like the bro everyman. Then we have a hippie vegan girl, and then we have a super flamboyant roommate. So far it's pretty funny, and
And the audience you're gearing that towards?
basically people who like Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I don't know
Okay,
if you watch.
cool.
So
Yeah.
it's sort of that type of humor where we're all sort of bad people, but you
I
still
had
love
a chance
us.
to work with Danny DeVito in
Yes?
Hollywood, so I mean, he's like,
Oh my God, he seems like such a hoot.
he was great.
That's really cool.
And
But
I was taller than him, which is something that it was great.
I bet you were.
I did. It was great. It was wonderful.
That's really funny. But yeah, so I got the idea for this just thinking one night, and then I pretty much mapped out all the episodes for the whole season. So each episode is based on a different dinosaur pun that I've come up with.
Okay.
So the first one is called Rex in the City.
Oh, that's funny.
The second one is called Velociraptor. The third one is called Meteorite, it's spelled meat. And so basically the
okay.
hippie vegan
Right.
convinces the Tyrannosaurus Rex to go vegan. And so we've come up with all these different episodes, and we've written each one. And so far my favorite one is probably Sore Loser. Sore spelled S-A-U-R.
Oh, cute.
Where they have a kickball team. The dinosaurs have a kickball team. It's like the city championship. And yeah, it's basically just a vehicle for my terrible, terrible puns, which I know my parents will appreciate, and we're hoping that everyone else appreciates too. But I don't know if you ever watched Wilfred. It has
No, but I've seen the ads for them.
Yeah, so it has like Elijah Wood. So it's kind of like that where, people see them as dinosaurs, but we're not going to represent them as like, we're not going to have tails and like dinosaur hands and things like that. It's just going to be the
So
representation.
I wish you luck with that. Sounds,
know.
No, I mean, it sounds different.
Yeah. Oh, it's
but
going to be
also,
different.
It's different, but there are similar, not similar, but it's not
Yeah.
like
So different.
so out there that no one's
Yeah.
going to watch it. So I think
Yeah.
it sounds good. It sounds funny.
It's actually, we got approved for pre-production status on IMDb, so it's actually already
Excellent.
on IMDb for all the episodes and
Fantastic.
stuff. So yeah,
I mean, you're not going to have enough room on your IMDb page for all the stuff that you're doing.
I mean, that's what I hope, but who knows? But yeah, so we're producing a couple different things, and it's always funny when I'm producing how much other people reach out to me about acting jobs and their own things, because they see you working and they see that you are trying to make things happen, and that makes them want to cast you.
So, any other projects, or is that it?
Okay, I have my 2 plays.
Right.
I have my my Empire City. I could talk a little bit more about that.
Oh, yeah.
My pilot that a couple of different networks are looking at.
Right.
It's basically a bunch of 20-somethings all living in New York City trying to make it, either in fashion or acting or dance or modeling, or photography or whatever. And it sort of follows all their different stories integrated together. And it seems really cool right now. Like, actually, we've been rehearsing and shooting it in the Bronx at Shoot HR. I think it's like Shoot HR Studios or Shoot HR.
But it's a great concept, I think, and it's a great name, Empire City.
Empire City.
I love it.
I think it's really going to resonate with people. I mean, because that's what we're doing in real life. Like, we're trying to make it happen.
It's almost like you're not acting, which is good. I mean, if it doesn't seem like you're acting, then it might really grab people.
Well, this one I might have to act a whole lot because I'm the annoying boss lady.
Oh, that's not you.
Well, we'll see. They laughed when I did it.
No, I'm saying, but that would be acting.
Yeah, no, totally. So it's really interesting to. I don't usually play the straight character in things.
Is it dramatic, or is it?
It's a mixture of dramatic. I mean, it's like a kind of slice of life kind of thing, because it's a mix of dramatic stuff. But when we have been rehearsing, I've been laughing at the stuff they say.
But it's really basically like a reflection of reality in a way.
Totally.
Right? Yeah,
totally. And the cast, they are all so gorgeous. Like, when I walked in the room for the first rehearsal, I was like, crap. Like,
oh, you fit right in. Jeez.
Oh, thank you. No, everyone is so gorgeous. I'm like, why didn't they just cast another model? Like, seriously, they all are so gorgeous. I'm really, really excited to work with these groups. And the writer for that, his name's Garrick Wade.
Right.
And the producer for it is Omar White.
And this is a series, or is this?
Yeah, we're shooting the pilot.
Is it only one writer? I mean,
only one writer
for the entire series.
And,
at this point, I'm sure.
At this point, and I know that basically the people interested want to see the pilot and go from there. Yeah. So that's exciting.
Sounds exciting to me.
I've actually done a lot of pilots now, and people get so excited for them, and I do too. But you never know.
Yeah, the pilots are a tough thing. And,
it's tough.
And there's so many pilots out there.
So many pilots. I mean, how many does HBO shoot every season that don't get picked up? I mean, I think everyone has done an HBO pilot at some point. But
and I recently did like an A&E pilot, and I'm still got my fingers crossed. But
that's all you can do is hope.
Right.
And hope someone sees it.
And it's so much fun, but then then it's over, and it's like.
Yeah.
Am I going to be able to experience this exact kind of fun again? And that's why it's if you get a series, I mean that's where I think the real promised land is.
Totally.
A series.
I mean, I love Mad Men. I love Game of Thrones.
Oh my God.
God, I watched so many. I love Breaking Bad. I watched so many TV shows. I used to be more of a film girl in high school. I would just watch movies. As soon as I would get home from school, I'd just watch movies over and over again. And now that I'm an adult, I can just kill a whole series on Netflix in like a weekend.
But I love Mad Men. I mean, that to me.
It's the best.
I mean, that's.
Especially this season. No spoilers. Is amazing. I'm just loving it.
So maybe your production company will come up with a series that really hits it.
Who knows? Maybe Awful Terrible Lizards will be the one, or not the one.
That would be great. So do you plan to, with your production company, to do any commercials or anything like that?
I've never really thought of that before.
Because there's money there.
There's totally money there. I mean,
that's where a lot of money is in commercials.
When I did my taxes last year, I was like, what is this big chunk of money that they're saying? I don't remember. I was like, oh yeah, the Airborne commercial. Okay, you forget because you work just a couple of hours.
But I've worked with some people who I'm good friends with, a production team who do commercials, and it seems like the actors actually make more money than the production people on the commercials.
Totally.
And it kind of makes me feel bad because I'm there for 4 hours and I'm out, and then they're there for like pre-production, post-production, and
the whole thing.
And they're not getting the residuals; they get the lump sums.
Exactly.
So,
one of the actors on Breaking Bad, it's the one that plays Jesse Pinkman's, like one of his friends, one of his stoner friends. Right. He talks about how I think it was State Farm, his State Farm commercials that he did paid him more than all of his episodes of Breaking Bad put together.
It's crazy. I mean, if you get the right commercials and if you get the right commercial agent, then
I'm available for commercials. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with my agent right now because they send me out a couple times a week, and sometimes you're not right for it, but sometimes you are.
And it's amazing, and I'd love to do more. I've done only 3 in the last year and a half, but they've all been amazing, and they've all been basically with the same production company, and it's fantastic. I mean, it's so much fun,
Yeah, totally. People are always like, I want to get into commercials. I'm like, who doesn't want to get into commercials? Like, you can pretty much pay for your whole life getting into
and then you can do stage because stage doesn't pay anything. Really.
Yeah, exactly. Then you have time to do your play in your grandma's basement.
That's it. You could have fun, So,
Yeah.
So, any other projects you're thinking of in the future?
A couple of people have approached me about different things. Like, I really just want to focus on the film Slip, written by my friend Charlie Reeves, and focus on the web series.
Right.
I think that both are sort of a good representation of my acting. Like, we have the serious sort of indie film stuff that I do, but then also the comedy, the sketch comedy. I would love to ultimately get on a TV show full time, not just pilot time. And I did another pilot that almost got picked up. I mean, that was the closest I've ever come to having a pilot picked up. But I was flying home from Georgia, I was flying out of Atlanta, and there's this man next to me on the airplane, and I was so tired, so I just fell asleep for the whole airplane ride, and so did he. And then we finally landed at LaGuardia. I was like, oh my God, good to be home. He was like, tell me about it. And he was like, are you an actor? I was like, yeah, I am. He's like, can I have your business card? I was like, yeah, as long as you don't promise to do anything weird with it. And and I gave it to him, and he cast me in a Cartoon Network pilot.
How cool is that?
I got to go to a studio just like this and record voiceover for a whole day. They paid me, and they bounced it back and forth between Cartoon Network in New York and Cartoon Network in LA. And I mean, that still might be being made, but I had no idea until that experience how expensive cartoons are.
And the other thing is, you never know a year from now or whenever
totally.
that it might happen.
Yeah, and hopefully my voice doesn't change, so that it's they can just fit me in again. But yeah, you never know when you're gonna just have those lucky experiences.
Or you're gonna meet that person who is who's gonna change your life.
Exactly. I was at a film festival about 2 months ago, and they had a guest speaker there that was a filmmaker, and his name is Malik Yoba. He's in a bunch of the Tyler Perry movies.
Oh, cool.
I apologize, Malik, if I'm pronouncing your name wrong. But he was, after Hurricane Katrina, went down there and was helping clean up New Orleans, and this kind of really sketchy looking guy came up to him and was like, oh, I recognize you from your movies. I have a script. And so the guy's like, okay, cool, everyone does. And he's like, well, can I give it to you? And he's like, well, I'll be here again tomorrow if you want to. He's like, okay, great. So then he went the next day and was cleaning up, and this same guy came over and he handed him a script that he said was pristine and professional looking. And he said he went back to the hotel room that night and read it, and it was one of the best scripts he's ever read. So his moral of the story was, it's not about being discovered, but it's about being prepared when you do have those moments, those chance, lucky moments, that you can say okay, yeah, I'm ready. Here's my stuff. Check it out.
It sounds like a great story.
Yeah.
Really. Any story that has a happy ending like that, maybe you should produce that story.
I know, exactly. Maybe I'll send Malik an email after this.
That's it. So, I'm really happy that I had an opportunity to just bump into you on Facebook. It's just, it's funny.
How about that? That's another lucky opportunity. Facebook friends suggested me, since we had 20 or 30 friends in common.
Right.
And I was like, okay.
But, unfortunately, things in life, have to end at some point. And we've come to the end of this episode.
Okay, cool.
And it's, it's been really, really a pleasure having you on the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, it is my pleasure. And that's a wrap. Good night.